Hey guys, Winter Wolf here. King Z and I had so much fun doing our top 22 favorite action movie breakdown and ranking list that we went a little over, and we apologize for that. And because we value your time much more than we value our time, we decided we're going to split that list into a two-part series, and here's the second half. We'll see you guys later.
All right, we've had some high ones. I'm gonna go with one of my lower ones that we picked on it. I picked it because I really enjoy martial art movies. They're kind of fun. This one was one of the ones they talked about a lot during the early 2000s with Ang Lee's martial art masterpiece of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Now I put it in the bottom part, like I'm talking DF, because it is so slow. But when they're fighting, it is action packed. But the rest of it is just drags on. So I like martial art fighting. I grew up watching Bruce Lee movies, kung fu theater on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. But I picked this movie to put on my list, but it's not one of the best movies overall, even though it is a fun martial art movie.
Guys, this is D for Detroit.
D or F?
Okay. I can't go F. I can't. We can start at D, but I want to make a compelling case to bump it up one notch. Right? I like all the choreography speaks for itself. There was something next level about Wire Fu at that time, where I think they just nailed it. They had nailed like the technique, the craft, or whichever. So that was pretty good. I mean, you get this movie for American cinema spawned a bunch of our willingness to let other movies like House of Flying Daggers to come in, and other things that were on like a lower level here, but were probably huge, where they came from. But at least opened my personal eyes to this. Like, I watched some Bruce Lee stuff coming up. I was never a giant like Jet Li Chan. I was never a giant Chow Yun Fat fan. I know these movies are out there. I've seen a few here and there. But the case I want to make for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is set work, set design, because I think you'd appreciate that. This is a movie that shows us like the falling lily leaves kind of thing, and like the reds and the yellows, bright, vivid colors set against like the whites. The costumings where she's in like, this is the one where she has like the white robe outfit near the end as she's doing fighting, set against like cherry blossoms and things like that. And I think there's a lot of value that we get in that visual presentation that stands in really stark kind of juxtaposition to a lot of Western stuff. We get a lot of the same burn down cities, spray paint, graffiti, bums around, tire fires, and oil drum. There was just something beautiful about it. So I think visually the aesthetic gets it out of D for me and into C. I'm not sure if you're willing to take that plunge. You don't have to, because again, this is one that I've only seen twice, so it's not. I'm not married to this.
So the only thing that would save this movie is that the fight scenes are beautifully cinematographically shot. Like it is great movie. It's just not one of the top ones because of how slow it is for an action movie.
And it's long too. Does this not have a long? Was this 2.5 hours? I think this was up there. If I remember right,
a long run time, and the story itself, I mean, it needed the time to tell the story because that's how slow it was going.
Right.
Like, there's plenty of bathroom break time in this movie.
All right. As somebody that's more up on the genre, I'm going to concede to the D rating on this one. Then I think visuals are nice, but as we know, both in gaming and in the movies we enjoy, it's not usually enough to carry unless the story is tight and the pacing is also effective. So, Crouching Tiger down to D then.
All right. Well, everybody, we are halfway through our list. We got 11 down. We might speed up here a little bit because we're trying to run a little long. But as we look right now, we have one movie that we have definitely put in the S tier. We have 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3 A's. 2 B's. 2 C's. And 3 D's so far.
All right. Let's bang out a few rapid fire then, so we can see what we can do. Because I think a lot of these that are left are ones that I wouldn't feel too strongly about either. Let's talk Cobra and Fast and Furious. Let's do a double dose.
Fast and Furious, I would definitely put as a C movie. especially we're talking about the very first one,
The original, the
Paul
one
Walker.
everybody's
Yeah.
the street racing with the heist, the truck robbery. Yep.
It's a great heist movie, good action sequence with the cars and the whole action, like how they
Basically
rob
Point Break, but you know.
Yeah, how they robbed the truck was really great with the
Yeah.
cars and everything. It's inspired a lot of people to try to learn how to drive these precision driving, and then cause a lot of accidents.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. This movie's killed about as many people as AR-15s have. But
Yeah, anyway, we're not allowed to talk about that on YouTube, though. They don't like that.
yeah, they don't.
Did you say C for this?
I say C. I'm going dead center mass.
I think I'm going to go dead center also. I think, like we were talking before, this is one of those movies that has a couple of really cool sequences in the vehicles, like the stuff where they're jumping, especially at the end when Paul Walker's jumping to unhook the semi-antagonist because he got tangled on the wire, and then they have to make the escape kind of thing. That's pretty dope. The initial robbery that we see where it's the 3 black Civics and the one of them goes under the truck and they're kind of doing their racing thing that obviously got people to get killed and shit like that. I think that actually changed laws up here where I'm from, where now all these stupid semis have the flaps that actually come down between the front and the back, because I don't remember seeing them as a kid, but I remember seeing them around 2000 and going forward. So I think maybe it might have been something to that. I mean, there's no denying that it's a franchise. Fast and Furious, Fast X isn't doing too well at the box office right now, but they kind of hit a stride a few movies back where they just make bank. They're going to probably take a bath on this one, but the original, dude, I probably saw that in theater 4 or 5 times, dude. Like, it was just that much. Every time, I know, yeah, that's not how nitrous works. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, I just love seeing him hit it. I love when they jump past the train at the end. Again, this is the movie that started family as a meme. I'm there for all of that. It's cool. It works for me. I feel like I've grown up in my adulthood with some of the characters in this movie. You know?
It doesn't matter if you got family.
Yeah. Love it. Dom, no, you can't make the run on the Death Star. You don't have the Force. I don't need the Force. I got family. Like, all right, go. You try it then. Go ahead. All right, so that was Fast and Furious. We'll throw that in C. Let's talk Cobra. That was the other half of that double there.
Yeah, Cobra was a pretty good movie. Now, will admit, and this is a very vulnerable part, when I was a kid, the bad guys in this movie actually scared me. Like, I had nightmares of the bad guys of these movies.
Right with you. The Night Stalkers, or whatever they're called, they're fucking terrifying. They're just, yeah, dude. And that dude, the leader, who's like the bad guy in everything ever because his face is so effed up, you know? I love that guy. He was terrifying, dude. But it's Stallone as a kind of a rogue cop doing 80s vibe rogue cop shit that only he can do and get away with. Terrifying villains, cool car, cool gun, iconic poster like we were talking about in the draft video where he's got the gun with the laser sight, the crimson red background and shit. Great movie tagline. Dude, he F's up that dude at the beginning of the shopping mart where he's like, you're a disease and I'm the cure, and he's just like, blah. Yeah. It's fucking hilarious. You know, there's some good shit there. But I think this is the one I have to as much as I like it, I think in this group, in this list company, this is a D movie for me. I think that it's paper thin in terms of the story. It's borderline stupid watching it as an adult, but I still like it because I just wish the world was that simple. You know what I mean? In black and white, and like the rogue cop could do all this shit, and like the innocent people never get hurt, and only the right bad guys ever get plugged, and there's no crossfire and no collateral damage. And I wish the world were that easy. But it's not a very smart movie. It came out at a time in the 80s. I think, you know, when conservatives, we were running train on. The whole Reagan thing was out there, and, you know, the satanic panic in D&D and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is very much an anti-cult, anti-D&D, you know, dare drug program kind of thing. And I think that probably rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when it came out. But this is our favorite movie list, so it's going to be on there. But like you said, this is tail end of bell curve for me. If we were hanging out and you wanted to watch it, I'd always say, dude, let me grab the beer. Let's do it. But this isn't something I'd tell somebody new to the genre or somebody looking back on a top 5 all-time list. No way.
Yeah, this isn't what you introduce someone to 80s action with.
No, there's other better. I mean, you get Lethal Weapons leagues above Cobra. You know what I mean? So,
all right. So
throw this in the D.
For my doubleheader, I'm gonna go with the 2010 Christopher Nolan Inception and Starship Troopers.
Okay. All right. Let me give you my quick take on Inception. I'm one of the guys that likes Inception, but I hate what I perceive to be cop-out endings. I don't like the fact that the totem is either spinning or not spinning, depending on the frame of the movie version you might have seen in theaters or on home release. Is it starting to topple, meaning he's out of it or not out of it? I don't like that. You tell me the story and give me the ending. Is he in or is he out? It's not that I don't want to think about things. I just find it kind of like, it's frustrating because I want to know what the storyteller thinks happened. So that kind of pisses me off.
Especially if you're not going into a sequel. Like, if you're not going into a sequel where it picks up from that point.
Yep. So
you kind of want to into the story.
But good trippy movie. I think it does a lot with the special effects, where it does the city breaking down and like wrapping on itself kind of thing. I mean, they borrow that technique for like Doctor Strange and other Marvel shit going forwards. I mean, it's cool. Yeah. That stuff's always good. Great performance by Leo, obviously. The other dude that plays not Robin from Dark Knight Rises.
Gordon
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, JGL. Dude, he's good on the team. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about him, but it's utterly...
Hardy on there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Who had a great line in there when he came up. He's like, you need to dream bigger, and he had the grenade launcher.
Yep. So kind of great premise. I mean, it's unique. I mean, I'm sure it borrows from old school things like Twilight Zone and other various bits of sci-fi that I can't like quote, but it was a good enough movie. But again, it's not on, like, I'm not hunting this movie down on HBO Max. Like, it was there, I saw it, I'm like, okay. It's 47,000 times better than Tenet. Like, that kind of garbage by comparison.
Even though I love the lead actor in Tenet.
Oh yeah, dude, fine. I mean, great actor, but again, he can only do as much as they give him with the script. But if we're grading, if we're being quick about it here, Inception probably a C for me, because I'm a Nolan Batman guy. You know, I like that more, just that's more my speed.
And Nolan has a history of doing that type of stuff with his movies, like not having a clear ending. I mean, Memento. The Batman Rises or the Dark Knight Rises, like, didn't have a clear ending. The Batman didn't he die?
And that's one of the reasons why Dark Knight Rises. I mean, not besides how they abused my boy Bane in that movie, but did the ending of that, like, did Alfred see him at the cafe or he didn't? Did he bring the bomb out? Did he bring the EMP to the harbor or not? I just find it frustrating because it's not a technique I like to use in any of my stuff, unless, like you said, if it's an epilogue and you're kind of looking back on a character that you didn't have wrap the story up at the end, then you have that epilogue where it's like, oh, King Z crawls out of the water and he grabs his gun, racks around, and he stalks off towards the house. You know, like, okay, fine, that's fairly ambiguous, but it at least gives you something. So yeah, Inception, I gotta go to C. You'd have to convince me to go higher.
No, I'm not convincing you. C.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a dramatic pause as you were putting together a defense. You said Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers.
All right.
Rico's Roughnecks.
Yep. There's a Rabchak's Roughnecks first, but whatever. I love this movie. I don't care how stupid this movie is. I love the book. I don't care how much smarter the book is. Heinlein was a kind of a genius for coming up with some of the satire in the book. Starship Troopers is based on. The movie is its own, definitely separate, not as smart thing, but I don't care. It's 90s cheese at its finest, right?
Yes.
There's enough to love with the bug design, which is fucking terrifying when you're like 13, 12, whatever. They were savage. They were relentless. The gore effects in this, when they're like gouging into like legs and shit, disgusting. Dude, I can't say enough good things. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Young Neil Patrick Harris, young Denise Richards,
Casper Van Dien as Johnny Rico,
Gary Busey's son.
Yep. Oh, dude, what's his name? Clancy Brown is the drill instructor that kills the brain, or that captures the brain bug.
Yeah.
Hank from Breaking Bad is this drill sergeant that says Rico can't re-enlist because it wouldn't be legal. That's him. Like this movie is stacked for people.
I only have one rule. Everyone fights.
Everyone fight. Yeah. If you quit, I'll kill you myself.
Kill you myself.
Dude, I love that. Dude, it's good shit. It's so. I think there's a case to be made about just making cheesy movies again for a while, so you're just not miserable when you leave the theater, right? There's a lot of like moving scenes in this. Like Dizzy's death is a moving scene. She saves Rico. When Rabchak gets pulled into the hole and he's like cut in half, he's like, Rico, you know what to do. And Rico's like, sir, yes, sir. And he has to shoot him. And then when the other squad member gets kind of maimed when they're leading out the tunnel, we use this in one of our clips. Matter of fact, put that clip in there where you see, I'm just here to kill. You want to be a hero? I'm just here to kill some bugs. And he's like dying as he's shooting, and he's got the nuke grenade. And he's like, you like that? You like that? And my brother quotes that shit all the time. And I need more of that in movies. I'm so sick and tired of being annoyed at movies with like nothing to cheer for, nothing to root for. And like, I don't care if this movie has like a 13 rating on Rotten Tomatoes. For me, it's got to be at least a B. B for cheese
I would
alone.
go with a B. Yeah, it was a fun, action-packed movie. Like, there are it starts off a little slow, and then you have basic training, which is it's a standard story. But when they get into combat, it's combat. And, like,
it's a bug planet. Yeah, they're great.
They're not super soldiers. Like, Rico was injured in the very first assault.
And nearly killed. His friends thought he was dead.
Yeah,
because they had the number wrong or whatever on the screen. Oh, they rated him dead because they didn't know he was in the back to tank, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
And remember, Fleet does the flying while the Marines do the dying.
Well, no, Fleet does the flying. It was mobile infantry does the dying.
Yeah, mobile infantry.
See, but this is why this movie is so smart, because you remember when he's signing up, when he's enlisting, he's like he's signed his papers, and the guy processing was like, you know, what's your division? And he's like, mobile infantry. And the guy's like, well, good for you. Mobile infantry made me the man I am today. And he pushes away from the desk, and he's missing both legs and both of his hands. He's got prosthetics. Yeah. And it's like, is he saying that, like, the infantry made me the man I am today because of how I'm injured? Or because I'm proud of the service that, like, I actually provided and, like, I earned my citizenship? Because that's the backdrop of, like, the enlistment in this thing. There's different motivations to be a citizen because that gives you the right to vote. You know, the one woman that enlisted says, you know, I want to get out and have babies, but the only way you can have a license to have babies is through 2 years of citizenship or whatever, or 2 years of service. You know, Carmen wanted to fly. Rico wanted to go do whatever and be away from his rich parents in BA, which reminds me that I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say the only good bug is a dead bug. Dude, we need more shit like that. I'm telling you. People would feel better. Gotta be a B. Let me look down the rest of this list here, because I have to give you... Let's bang out these two together real quick, because I think they're very different, and one I think is going to go really low, unfortunately, and I think the other one is probably going to go high, because I'm having trouble rating them low. Let's do Rambo first, and I got to put Rambo at the bottom, because not in the crap. Like, I think we got to take the E tier off. I think we're only going to go down to D, I think, because I don't think any of these are really bad. I'm not sure. E and F have really negative kind of connotations. The reason I'm going to put Rambo low is it's a great story, it's a great screenplay, but it's only really heavy on anything action near the end after the sheriff takes him in. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of movie that takes place where he's like, oh, just trying to get something to eat. You know what I mean? Like, why are you running me out of town? And then it gets progressively uglier with the whole, you know, the mountain scene where the guy falls out of the helicopter and then the banger ending where, like, you know, the whole town's evacuated and Troutman has to come in and talk him down. And thankfully they go with the much better ending from the movie, not the ending from the book, where I believe Troutman shoots him with a shotgun and kills him. But yeah, it's like you said, this is a movie that has really effective story writing from another era where people just made better movies. There were just better writers that knew more about the technicalities of how the craft works and not just stringing one set piece into the next or interjecting personal politics or wanting to be a self-insert. Nobody would want to self-insert as Rambo in this movie because he's not an action star in this movie. That comes later in the sequels where he becomes an unkillable machine that can fly a helicopter and drive a tank, which literally no person on the planet would probably do.
Was it like First Blood? Was it Rambo 3, First Blood 2, or whatever it was?
Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking of in particular. Yeah,
he's holding the two M60s.
Yeah, sure.
And
how much do those weigh?
Fired an M60. I was an M60 gunner for my first unit, and that it's a crew serve weapon for a reason. You need a crew to fire this. Right.
It's like a 3-man job. Like, what the hell's going on here? You know, and he's got 2 of them shirtless while he's getting shot at and moving.
Yeah,
fully amped, fully loaded. I mean, it's not just like you have like 5 rounds hanging off a belt. You know what I'm saying? Those boxes are... How much does each one of those boxes weigh?
Oh, those boxes are wicked heavy. I don't...
Gallon of milk, gallon and a half? I don't know. It's like 6-7 pounds a piece.
You can move with one, but you don't have to set it up. You have the bipod down. Then you have the person someone else is carrying the ammo because you don't carry it loaded.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This dude was equivalently carrying like 4 boxes by himself, plus the 2 guns, which probably weighed what, 12 pounds apiece, 15 pounds apiece. I don't know. I've never fired one. I almost did in Florida though.
So heavy.
Yeah, we almost stopped in the machine gun world in Florida a couple weeks ago. I should have. It would have been the fucking bomb. I might go back down there. But anyways, I gotta put Rambo down into D just because in this Rambo, this is a drama that has action bits with the survival stuff at the end, but it's not Die Hard. Die Hard is an action movie through and through where something's always going down.
If we were going movie and story alone, I think that would boost it up to a B.
Yeah.
But for action movie, I would go with a D for the same reason that you said. But the story, if you haven't seen Rambo, I would recommend it highly.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's not at all what most people, I think, characterize it as because of the kind of the cartoon that it became. I mean that not literally, even though it was a cartoon.
And the last two pulled it back to what it was.
Right. Yep. So they did a good about face on that. All right, so that was Rambo. And the other one that I was going to pick in that pair there was The Matrix. Because I have to put that mega high. Dude, you didn't pick another S.
The Matrix changed the genre.
Okay, so is this going to be your S? Are you going all the way up?
I don't know if I could go S because I have one more I'm saving for S. I'm saving for the last movie redo.
I know which one you're going to do there, and it's going to be a tough sell. All right, so let's put Matrix squarely in A. It changed the game. Visual effects work off the chart. Bizarre sci-fi with the computer stuff.
Yeah, it blew people's minds. This movie, the camera trick where they did the floating thing in the air.
Crazy!
It was
how many times has that been
stuff.
parodied after that, man? Family Guy did this. Scary Movie 2 did this. Everybody did. I think
Everybody did it.
What's his name? Kevin James did it in King of Queens, for fuck's sake. Everybody did that move.
That one, and then the dodging the bullet.
Yep. This is what I mean. And dude, let's not talk special effects, dude. Let's just talk story, right? Let's remind people that this shit came out in like 98, right? The internet wasn't
99.
It was pre 2000, right?
Yeah.
The internet wasn't social media yet. So a lot of people were on dial-up in 98, 99. Still.
I mean, MySpace wasn't even out yet.
This is what I'm saying. I meant that. Was Google a thing in 98? I don't think it was.
Google launched in 99. Google did launch in 99.
Right before that, right?
But Yahoo was the top thing then.
This is what I'm saying, right? Ask Jeeves, Prodigy, AOL. These were all still instant messengers we were using. So when you're talking a story like The Matrix, we had done the whole time travel thing before. We had done like the AI taking over with Terminator before, but that was always in a kind of a linear way where it's like, okay, so in the future bad shit happens, so we're going to go back and fix that in the past. The Matrix was the bad shit happened, you guys lost, and you're living in a fucking dream.
Yeah.
In a computer. You're alive in a pod being your battery fuel.
You're a battery.
You know what I'm saying? Right, that's it. Like, you lost. And there's rando people that are unplugged, and, Morpheus is leading them around when he was still in shape, unplugging other people and doing the red pill, blue pill meme for you youngins comes from this movie. So when we're talking about game-changing film that did stuff that most people have probably only read in books. Books are like tablets, but with paper. Then they pages. I don't think these guys know.
You have to turn it.
Right, you have to manually turn the page. Yeah. So I mean, people probably came across some of those ideas in older sci-fi, like Asimov level sci-fi in the past, but specifically to see it on screen at the production value this had with some of these effects. Nothing like it. The Matrix has to be an A. I'll be kind and not try to go S on that because I think it could be a little too confusing for some people that might not make it instantly accessible like Predator, which I think anybody can just watch and enjoy.
It is an A. Like I said, it's a movie that changed a genre. It
Fact.
was wicked quoted. It was super parodied. Yep. Everyone tried to repeat what The Matrix made, and then they destroyed it with the sequels. But that's beside the point off the subject. But if you like this type of movie, I have one more to recommend on top of it. It's called The 13th Floor. It was The Matrix before The Matrix.
I thought Equilibrium was The Matrix before The Matrix.
No, Equilibrium was not The Matrix before The Matrix. If you took 413 and Equilibrium's costumes, then that would be The Matrix before The Matrix.
See, I would have recommended Equilibrium as like a Matrix clone just because I like Christian Bale as the cleric and the gun kata stuff. I don't care how stupid it is. It just looks cool.
Sometimes the 13th Floor had one of my favorite lines Like they're walking out of the room and they're like, "What happened to the world?" He goes, "I turned it off."
Dude, I'm gonna put that on my list. I'm sure that's on streaming somewhere. All right. All right, guys. Next pairing, because I think we're making really good time now. I'm gonna give King Z True Lies, and I'm gonna give another one I think you do enjoy. Let's do Mission Impossible Fallout.
Okay. Well, True Lies, I really enjoyed that movie. I think it was the best Tom Arnold movie of all time.
Yep.
Even though he's a B character, it is an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
I was like, qualify that. Let people know who's actually the
Tom
star.
Arnold had a absolutely fantastic character in it.
That's his partner.
I think this
he was
the
good.
first time we saw what's her real name? His daughter. What's his daughter's name?
Was that Eliza Dushku?
Yeah. Yep. Eliza Dushku. That was it. I just couldn't remember her name. I'm just really bad with names.
Bro, I got you for names. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
And then you have Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh. Can we talk about the black dress first? Good Lord.
That was such a
all-time
great scene.
steam, dude. All-time steam.
And of course, I mean, to go side by side with her, you have Tia Carrere.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dude, I forgot about her. I forgot about her in that movie. That's right.
Yep.
Dude, you want to talk about all-time movies that needed a sequel and never got it? It's this fucking movie.
Yes.
It's a crying shame. That I think. Did we get a series at one point, kind of recently?
It just started.
Limited run?
It just started. Yep.
It's okay. Right. Dude, it's just not enough, dude. This is the movie here for you youngins that they basically got like they got a Harrier jet to like do like a chase across a bridge and like blow parts of it up, and the bad guy, is this the one where the bad guy gets sucked into the, no, he doesn't get sucked into the jet, he gets stuck on the missile at the end, and Schwarzenegger fires the missile off, and it looks goofy as hell, but it's effing awesome when it happens. It's a typical action flick, though.
It's where you have Tia Carrere stuck in the sunroof as it goes down.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yep. This is like a 90s spy action. Dude, Bill Paxton in this one too, right? He's a slight sleazy car salesman, which was a great role for him. He was hilarious as the fake tough guy spy coming up against the real tough guy spy with Schwarzenegger. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, I need to go back and watch this again. I know I'm being super generous today. I mean, I think this is an A flick. It's probably one of Schwarzenegger's best. The villains are kind of maybe B. You know what? I'll go down to B. The villains are kind of two-dimensional, one-dimensional, Islamic, Middle Eastern, death to America kind of thing. But in the 90s, that was it. Like, that was the culture back then of like who our villains were, just based on, global events and stuff like that. And I don't think we were too domestically sensitive, overly sensitive to portraying them as all bad guys. Then they were easy bad guys in the way the Russians were easy bad guys before that. And
the Russians are always easy bad guys.
Right. I mean, we had the Nazis for Indy, and then we did the Russians. We can't do the Chinese. I'm saying that won't play in their box office, and Hollywood don't want to play with that. But that's why if we get a Red Dawn remake, it won't be China. Just saying.
Didn't they do a Red Dawn with China? Wasn't the new one China?
North Korea. And then they had to walk that back, and I think just call them Enemy Forces or Up 4, if I remember right. But anyways, True Lies. I think there's enough good action throughout it. Like I said, the dance scene with Jamie Lee is like burned into, like, if you're a guy of a certain age, it's just burned into your brain, memorable, because she was that gorgeous. The Tom Arnold back and forth where he's the goofy sidekick, but he's also good at his job though. So he's not like fat guy comic relief. He's just comic relief, So it wasn't parody of like. Yeah,
he wasn't the incompetent. The incompetent,
the bumbling,
sidekick.
Chubby guy with the shirt untucked, and
he actually knew what he was doing. He was
a good spy.
Good,
that's what I'm saying. He was a good spy. So yeah, dude, what do we say? B? We go in B, somewhere in the middle between B and A. We'll default down to B. All right. What else do we got?
What you said. You said it was Mission Impossible Fallout. Was the next one on that one.
Yep.
Mission Impossible Fallout. I mean, the franchise itself, Mission Impossible, has probably been one of the best action franchises that's sustained over the years. Fallout, that was the 2018 one, so that was the most recent one until the new one comes out next May.
Is that next year? That's not this year?
No.
This trailer's going around for it, though. I think it's this year.
Oh, it is this year, because the first one's this year, and the second part's next year.
What's this one? This year's called which one? Is it Dead Reckoning or something? Something like that?
Yeah, Dead Reckoning 1, Part 1, and there's Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Right.
Because I remember seeing it last year, and they played us the preview, and then it was like coming out, and it's like it doesn't come out for a year, and it's a part one.
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt is a great spy, great spin-off of a TV show from the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
I mean, you have Jeremy Renner in there as the administrative person over the IMF, as well as Alec Baldwin, who left the CIA to become the director of the IMF.
We know his policy around sidearms and whatnot, but, whatever.
And just don't stand in front of him.
That dude, yeah, but when he's picking it up off the table, he's sweeping the whole room as he's not checking it. But anyway, I love the franchise. Also, for me, Mission Impossible is hit or miss entry to entry. I'm in the absolute minority where I absolutely love Part 2. I don't care how bad it is. Like, I should have picked that one so I could have put it in the E category on our list, but then been like, I know it's bad, but whatever. I like bike chases and doves in front of explosions. Whatever. Go piss off. I'd have told people that. Total disclosure: I haven't seen Fallout, so I'm not going to challenge any rating you put on it. Other than I'll say, it must be objectively, qualitatively good on some level, because it's reinvigorated a franchise that I think slowed down sometime after Ghost Protocol or Rogue Nation or something. So it's juiced it a little bit, so it's making it popular enough again to be profitable. So it has to be good on some level. So I can't discredit what you're saying.
Henry Cavill into it as well.
Right. So that's a recipe for absolute awesomeness. So
I mean, we all love Henry Cavill anyway. So
well, except those boneheads at The Witcher. I mean, they're the only ones that don't. And fuck those guys. Yeah. You ruined your show. I hope season 3 bombs. And I hope you have to pay Liam Hemsworth ahead of time because season 4 is never happening. Anyway. So great Mission Impossible Fallout.
So I would put this in the C category because it is pretty, it's an iconic movie, but it's not one of the best ones in the franchise. But I believe I had to put it on here because, one, I love the Mission Impossible series completely. Yep. 2, like you said, was a bad one, but if you liked watching it, you liked watching it. 3, I think, had the best villain in it with heroin dude who passed away.
Oh, Philip Seymour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of died off, and then it made that comeback, and then it made that comeback with Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol, and then Fallout, and now they have the last 2 coming because, well, he's going to be in his 60s soon.
Tom Cruise is, he might have that inside track to, forever youthfulness or whichever. Yeah, I think that Mission Impossible is probably your version of my Fast and Furious. I like all of them. Tokyo Drift is okay. It's like it hit its popularity early with like 1, and then it took a little dip with 2, but not too bad of a dip. And then after Tokyo Drift, they kind of rewrote the whole thing to make them like a spec ops team and not so much street races. They just kind of use their reckless driving, adrenaline-raced, mindset to just solve those kind of problems. The safe scene the safe heist from Brazil, in whichever, I think that was Fast 5. That's even talk about iconic. Like I love that. So I mean, someday when I get around to Mission Impossible, I know that I won't be disappointed with Fallout and Dead Reckoning going forward. But for me, I think that it took too much of a dip. I think I saw. It was Ghost Nation and Rogue Protocol. I always kind of invert the titles when I talk about them. But I think Ghost Nation, I'm just like, okay, all right, whatever. And then I missed Part 5. But yeah, so you're putting it straight in the middle of the bell curve? You said C?
It's a C.
Okay. I'm guessing that's probably because was the story just a little too standard as far as spy flicks go? Like there's nothing standoutish in terms of story, not production value of effects or chases or fights. Just the actual story.
That brings it down is... it's always them fighting against the U.S. government for what they do, and that's where the Alec Baldwin and Jeremy Renner characters turn into. Even though it was Rogue Nation. It was Rogue Nation. And
Rogue Nation Ghost Protocol. Right, that's what I thought, because he goes off the grid for Ghost Protocol. And
the one in Ghost Protocol where Jeremy Renner was actually a field agent was much better.
Yeah. I think maybe I did like that one, and then I didn't like the one after that. True.
Yeah.
All right, what's left? What do we have here?
All right, we have 2 left. I think we need to do them individually because we saved these 2 for last.
Oh, yeah.
And the second to last one that we're going to do is The Avengers 2012.
Okay.
This is the first of the Avengers movies of the actual meetup that we were waiting for. The 14 movie build up to the Avengers.
All right.
Was it 4? No, it wasn't 14. It was 14 for the whole thing. Or 18 for the whole thing.
There's been too many now for me to remember what the milestones over here. It took them at least
like,
10. It took at least 10 to get here. At least 10.
It was a lot of them.
All right, let me do this one, and then you can do the last one because I know you're going to go big on the last one. I'll save you the hard work here. I'm going to put Avengers in B, and I put most of the Avengers team up movies in B. With the put Infinity War would probably, if we had put that on here, would probably be an S tier for me if we had Infinity War. Avengers is B because a lot of the movie is kind of clunky early as it sets things up, and then you're kind of wondering if they're gonna. For me, it was are they gonna stick the landing kind of thing? And good Lord Almighty, did they stick the landing? Thank God. When they all got to New York, and the shit's hitting the fan, and the Hulk shows up and punches the space worm thing, dude. The entire, like, we heard multiple studios around the world all gasp when the Hulk just like cruised into the punch and stopped it, and then Iron Man shoots it with a rocket. The theme music's building a little bit, and then as it comes cranking down, all the Chitauri take the masks off and they scream, and the fucking Hulk roars back at them, and they give you the hero shot. I thought the theater was gonna lose the roof, and I say that without a shred of deceit. It was so effing loud, I couldn't hear the music for a minute, and I loved that. It was the Avengers Assemble without him having to say it. And then we got that like 10 more years later, or 6 years later, whatever. But that first hero shot elevates this from a standard, almost kind of not working movie for me, squarely into B. And if I had time to think about other shit that I liked in the movie, like the anything between Thor and Loki was good. The banter between Iron Man and Thor and Captain America in the beginning was kind of good. It might be a stretch to get it into A, but this is an easy B, just for that last battle, for the last battle segment.
Easy.
You know, Iron Man in space, guiding the missile up to the Battlestar thing, pretty badass. And then of course, and you can't forget, this is the movie. Like at the end of this, it's Thanos saying like, "All right, I'll do it myself," and like it's on. Like this is what's wrong with Phase 4 and 5. This is what they haven't done right. You had elevated stakes with all these cutscenes that connected together, and then finally Big Bad's not just like looking at the camera and grinning. He's like, okay, I'll do it myself. And then you see the fucking gauntlet, and you're like, well, we knew it was going to be the gauntlet, but who wasn't like, like, oh shit, he means business, and here you go. Like that made cutscenes famous was that one. You know,
the post-credit scenes.
Love them.
The MCU is the one that launched like why post-credit scenes actually exist.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Take off that suit and what are you? Billionaire genius
Playboy philanthropist. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. It's so good. It's so effing good. But that's what I mean. Their banter is like, you don't know what it's like to make the big hero play and lay down on the wire and let the other guy go over. And it's like, yeah, because I'd find a way to fucking cut the wire. But they're both right. You know what I mean? They both needed to learn the other guy's lesson. And then they double down on that and pick up on it in Civil War, which is why that's... not Civil War, Winter Soldier and then Civil War. It's like that they had their own story through 3 movies that had nothing to do with the villains that were going on. And it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. You know, when they the only that was, and that's one of the reasons why if we had Endgame on here, why I would actually put Endgame a little lower, is because I don't think their reunion was as powerful as how they left things at the end of Civil War, where Captain basically left him with like the broken suit, and and dude's like, you don't deserve that shield. You know what I mean? He comes back in Endgame and like he takes the shield out of a fucking trunk and gives it to him. Like that's it? Come on. So I was a little disappointed by that. So that's Avengers in B for me. I think you just said you agree on B also B. There. All right, one movie left, dude.
Yep. And we're gonna save this. I think we saved one of the fan favorites for the last.
Yep.
Before we get to the last one, I would like to thank everyone for staying this long. If you have stayed this long, make sure you hit that like and subscribe so you can get more content like this. Before we, if you want to hear some of the other stuff we did, I'm going to put another card up right here, some of our past videos that we've done. We've talked about the review of D&D movie. It's going to be right here. So go ahead and check that out if you like this banter as we get into our last movie to rate.
Yep. Now, we should remind people, before you even jump in, that this... in and of itself, how we've presented these movies was not indicative of how any conversation we had leading into it would have ranked them out ahead of time. It's
Nope.
just kind of like a blind look at the list, and then we kind of rank them together after we combined our selections. Okay.
Exactly. The only thing we did before that wasn't on camera was do the list.
Yep.
And we randomly just picked these movies as our favorites. We had list, and then we narrowed it down to 22 of them. It took a while
Last
to
pick.
narrow it down to 22. So the last movie we're going to rate, and I know you're all waiting for it. You see it down here at the bottom. It's the John Wick movies.
Yeah.
Actually, John Wick, the first one. Story-wise, weak. Action-wise, you can't get better. Nothing but headshots.
Yeah. Nope.
And as I said
Yeah,
it
I think I'm
before,
back.
and I'll say it again, I think I'm back. It
Dude.
revitalized Keanu Reeves' career. I mean,
Yep.
he became a household, he was a household name. Everyone knew who Keanu Reeves was. He had The Matrix. You had John
Matrix.
Constantine.
Speed.
You had Ted. You had Speed. And then he kind of just drifted off. And then you read
Because
all
he also
these...
had Johnny Mnemonic. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do those contractual movies that you're
Fact.
contractually obligated to do.
Fact. Yeah, John Wick, dude. Gosh,
John
dude, this is your
Wick.
gosh, God.
Yeah, John Wick is the quintessential action movie. It revitalized the whole genre here in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
The first one came out in 2014, and since
shit.
then, everyone knows what John Wick is. When you first heard the premise, you laughed about it. You heard who's going to star, and oh, it's Keanu Reeves. You think of Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
He can't act.
And he just turned the table on all of y'all with this one.
Yeah, dude, this one's a good one.
This is a S tier movie. I don't care what anyone else says. It's an S tier movie. If you have an argument, put it in the comments, and I'll bring it. I'll bring my argument back to you.
Because he's definitely not talking about like John Wick 4, which, left audiences a little bit divided. The first John Wick, the original treatment for this was only like 40 pages long. The original it was written for like a character that was supposed to be in his 60s and who was just retired and gets dragged back in. But some genius got a hold of it and was like, no. Make it about his wife who died. They got him a dog and they killed the dog. And if we can get a A-lister on his way down, we can age the character up a little bit, but he's probably not having in his 60s, maybe somebody in his early 40s or whatever, and that'll be your role. And then they get Keanu Reeves. And like you said, it's such an easy movie to follow, but it doesn't make it any less compelling because the first 10 minutes are so good at drawing you into him being such a miserable, loathing, repetitive person that kind of hates what he did. He finds the wife. He leaves the lifestyle for her, and they don't get to have a lot of time together because she has cancer or whichever. Like that's automatically that's a reachable story, regardless of what the plot is going to be going forward. I mean, everybody that's listening right now has lost someone somehow, and you know what that is. And most people listening probably have had a pet and know what that feels like. And so if you mix the two of these things and you have that particular dark background, you might have to go fuck up Theon Greyjoy for killing your dog and stealing your car. Because it wasn't about killing the dog and stealing the car. I'll take this argument to the grave. It was because you killed the last memory of his wife. It could have been a big screen TV. He broke in and broke his big screen TV. It wasn't the dog. It was you cut the last connection he had to his wife, who was the only thing on the planet he ever loved.
It was his redeeming factor. His wife was his redeeming factor. He was nothing but a monster. They referred to him as the man you sent to kill the boogeyman.
To kill the boogeyman, right. Dude, and so it's not complicated in its own way for an action flick. It really is just kind of poignant. So you got the clutch scene where he's like taking the sledgehammer to the floor to get the guns and to get the gold chips and shit. Like, that's pretty badass. You know what I mean? And then it's just he just fucks shit up for an hour and a half after that.
It's a visual representation of him breaking down the walls he built of his past.
Yep. Fact. And what you gotta I love movies where the bad guys are eventually afraid of stuff. And this one, we were just watching Lord of the Rings the other day, and you get that part at the end of Lord of the Rings in Return of the King where the Rohirrim charge, and the orcs finally figure out they're boned, and they look scared, and they kind of retreat a little bit. John Wick does that right up front. Like when this dipshit kid, when Theon Greyjoy goes to his dad, and he's like, I had a run-in with this guy over a car. And he's like, do you have any fucking idea whose car that was, stupid? Like, he's like, oh, my boy, like, you're going to die. Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, it's John fucking Wick. The only thing he could do is call John Wick and get hung up on. Yeah. And he's afraid from there. and that's the head of the mob, the head of the Russian mafia or whatever. So it's like, it's cool to see villains get that shit from time to time. You know what I mean? And understand there's something coming for you. You know, I feel like recent superhero stuff, the bad guys, like no one's afraid of Batman currently. And it's like that always works better when the bad guys know that there's something in the shadows that's meaner than they are. That's why I don't like all this. I don't like the counterculture going on right now. It's like Batman's only beating up on people that commit low-level petty street crimes because economics. Like, no, stop it. You're overcomplicating what Batman's supposed to be. Don't overcomplicate John Wick. You got these dipshits that are like, oh, well, John Wick's just killing security guards that work for the mob. I'm like, I don't care. They're mob guys to me. Like, shoot them. I don't care. That doesn't. Like, they're the bad guys in the movie. I don't need to know that they had a backstory or a family. I need something cut and dry to just be like, mow down your problems, because that's what normal people want to do, is just live simple lives where their solutions are not complicated and we can just fix things however we want to fix them. That's the beauty of John Wick, is that for me. So you want to leave that in S tier, dude? I'm gonna let you leave it in S tier. I can't argue against it. The franchise. But yeah, no, it's I think a lot of these that are first entries in a series, like RoboCop, Predator, Terminator 2 is probably the odd man out there, because I think it exceeds Part 1 in every way. Like,
it's
as
one
I
of the
described.
three
and T1 is, and
better
Terminator 1 is great.
sequels.
Yeah, this, Empire, and
Godfather 2.
Godfather 2. Okay, all right, I can see that. Yeah, so I think that's it, dude. I think we covered the list here. Do we miss any? We got all 22.
We got all 22 ranked. Now, if you agree with our list, if you don't agree with our list, let us know. Put it in the comments. Start a conversation. We'll be happy to reply back to you. We will comment as soon as we can see it. We both do have jobs, but we will get back to it as soon as we can.
I think it'll be funny, if I could just interject. I think it'd be funny because we actually had, like we usually do, we have alternates and things that end up on the cutting room floor. We're not going to berate you guys with these right now, but it'd be funny if a couple of people piped in and actually named some of the ones that were on our left out list. I think we have like 6 or 7 of them that just didn't make it to the vaunted 22. But what else you got going on, dude? Any announcements? Anything on your end for individuals?
I've got some more clients editing. I've been working on writing, trying to get a short film together, maybe a season or a series pilot or a proof of concept together. Maybe I just shop it around. A lot of stuff in the early phases. I have been kicking around the idea of starting a channel, kind of like what we're doing here, but doing it on audiobooks and audiobook performers like R.C. Bray, Nick Podell, people like that, and talk about the audiobook version of a book, because it's totally different than reading a book. Because one, you have someone performing it, which goes back to the ancient way stories were told before someone telling the story. Yeah. Yep. And I really appreciate it more because my job, I drive all day, 8 hours a day I drive. So listening to audiobooks really helps me tell the time. So I've been thinking about that.
Let you cover a lot of ground too, because you do rip through them pretty quick because you do drive so much. That'll be a dope channel. So that when you get some contact info up, we're gonna plaster that all over the Winter Wolf's Den, of course, and I'll be the first sub over there for sure. And I love hearing your takes on those performances. I'm a reading guy. I don't drive as much anymore with the work from home, so it's kind of cut me off from that. But as usual, dude, I appreciate you coming by on a Sunday ahead of a holiday. And like we said at the beginning of the video, thanks to all your family members that served and didn't make it home. We appreciate that service, and we wouldn't be here in a lot of ways without those folks. So
please remember that tomorrow is not a barbecue day. Tomorrow is
that's
a day
why I didn't say Happy
remembrance.
Memorial Day. Yep. And
please don't thank me for my service. Don't thank me for my service. That's Veterans Day.
See, all right, everybody. So everybody say goodbye to King Z anyway. He was nice enough to be here on a Sunday night after working all day. That's King Z. I'm Winter Wolf, and I don't know what I'm doing next either, but it's Winter Wolf's Den anywhere you want to search it. I might have a presence in different places. It's Winter Wolf's Den on YouTube, Twitter, and still coming soon Instagram. Maybe I'll go do that right now. It's still kind of early. But until the next one, guys, we'll see ya.